What up? So, I have like these like things in my brain that kind of stay like inside of the brain. So I'm gonna like attempt. But they're like wisdom, I guess. I don't know. I don't. They're like down. It sounds so weird. It sounds so corny. Downloads. Downloads for the universe. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding, but I'm also kidding at the same time. So they're like things that like come intuitively, like these things that come throughout like my life or my days that come intuitively that actually sound like sound advice to either the collective or like to myself. I always battle like fighting, like I always battle with like uh how I'm perceived always. Was that a bomb? Anyway, like I always like think about like whether or not I sound crazy, but even if I am crazy or like mentally challenged or like whatever, like it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a dumbass or something, what can it is what it is. So anyway, so let me try to attempt to. I'm just documenting myself right now. Let me attempt to like be a vessel of sorts for like information. This might not be jack shit of a video. This might be cool. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Serious mode. There's a fascinating paradox that my mind has just experienced. The first thought was stop trying so hard. It's weird because, like, in my experience, so that was like one of the statements, like those blurts, like those like intuitive blurts. Stop trying so hard. Like right now, I shouldn't try so hard, essentially. It's like interesting though, because it's like for the tracks that I'm working on, right? Like with my first track, I was so anal about every single fucking thing. Like I was like, everything has to be like super like hit the marks, hit the fucking marks. When I have these visions that I'm trying to like create it, I'm so like fixed on like hitting each and every single marker, and it's a challenging aspect actually having like a vision and then like trying to create the vision via like other people's help, essentially, with their talent and their like investments and their talents and their time on it with you. And it's like, and then you're like essentially like the conductor director of like the thing. And it's a fascinating like balance between like following through completely on the vision, or but which takes effort too, to communicate properly, and also seeing other people's work and seeing like how good it is, or just seeing their work and seeing what like looks good and sounds good or whatever, and working with that instead, um, with the primary vision being like a inspirational point. So, and that aside, like my contributions to these visions, my like when I record, for example, like for this fucking Indian ad lib thing, it's like I'm trying to like really try my best, right? I'm trying so fucking hard. Like I'm trying to hit like markers in which would make it undeniably like good sounding, I guess. Like for example, in the bathroom right now, I was fucking like hammering in like the words, the melody, the enunciation, the proper like vocal technique, and then I hit like a brick wall with like trying to figure out like how I'm gonna record myself in this little tiny closet in a way where it I hit those points and also have it match like the song tempo. What I'm the current thing that I'm struggling with was that like the bass like recording for the like the Indian verse that I'm supposed to be singing is not on temp like it's not on the same metronome BPM. I don't know. I'm new to this music like theory shit. Um, it just doesn't mesh well. Like I was trying to like figure out where that entire verse thing fit into the song, and it fit nowhere. So like so yeah, so in my brain immediately I'm like thinking so many different things. I'm like, well, I want to rap on the song in English, and I want to also nail all of these notes with like utmost best like vocal technique and like all these things. And it's like, I spent like 6, 7, 8, 9 months at this point having not really contributed my own voice onto the track yet. And that's fucking, you know, that's the perfectionism versus the stop trying so hard narrative that I just thought about. I think what it means to me is like loosening my grip on it, loosening my grip on the expectation that it will be perfect, because and like just letting myself instinctively like trusting in my instincts, trusting in like whatever, right? And then trusting in myself. I think what this insinuates, like this whole like anxiety thing, this anxiety aspect that comes with in the form of worry or whatever, that comes with the dialogue of stop trying so hard or stop trying or whatever I said, comes from like a point of like not trusting myself. Like, so maybe trust myself more, trust that like whatever comes naturally, intuitively, like it's for a reason. The other one is God exists. Mind you, I'm just putting this out there. I'm not expecting anybody to believe jack shit I'm saying. I'm just kind of like expressing like these like downloads or these like just these statements that come from somewhere. Scientifically, my brain, sure, but it doesn't necessarily feel like my active conscious, at least. Okay, the second one is God exists. It's very fascinating because, like, I hold skepticism with everything, even despite proof, even despite my own experiences experiencing these things too. It's very fascinating. Like, but then at the same time, it's like different spectrums of my brain will. I hope my cat's okay. He's fine. Like, God exists. Like, a large part of my brain believes that. Because it's too coincidental. Like, there's just way too many coincidences to have, like, existed in my life for it to just be, like, a coincidence. Like, I definitely statistically I should not be around right now. Statistically I should not be here like with my fucking cat like here. Like I think I've defined the statistics statistically, which would insinuate that like it's not much of a coincidence. like I would think to myself, like, what is coincidences coincidenting to coincidentally? Then it's not a coincidence, yeah? So, yeah. If God doesn't exist, so then there's a part of my brain that says and thinks, if God doesn't exist, then I shouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be here. I don't believe I would be. Because of, like, all of the times I should have died. In the, like, whether giving up in life, like on my own, like, life, or just like accidents or like just circumstances that like should have literally killed me, that statistically could have severely hurt people or killed them, so you know honestly, so there's that. And on top of that, like, how I'm the fact that I'm still here is like, look, the thumbs up. Did I even do a thumbs up? I don't even know. Does it work? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know. That was a thumbs up, but okay, anyway. That's probably a sign. You know what I mean? My cats are like looking at me and they're thinking like that I'm probably crazy or something. But anyway, I believe that too. But anyway, so like, the fact that I'm not homeless right now, that I'm not like in like, sure, I'm not like rich or like rich or like, like just the most financially comfortable ever. But I'm not like homeless. And like, I'm like I'm actually like allowed, like, the fact that I'm existing here, talking, having the privilege to talk to the camera, having the privilege to like, like, in a way look presentable, which takes effort and investment and work, and the ability to like uh, like care for myself via like what I consume is a privilege that like that just in this economy, like, shit. Like, I make income by chance, really. And the fact that I'm still alive right now, having like a roof over my head, the ability to have like my fucking, like, I do worry about my bills and I do worry about rent, and honestly, like, that's like the one thing that like scares me the most is like cost of living and caring for like my like loved ones. The fact that I'm still like afloat in a way, you know, while tending to my dreams, having the ability and the privilege to tend to my dreams. I work really fucking hard, by the way. I work all the fucking time. If I'm not working on my dreams, then I'm working on something else that helps me with my dreams. And it kind of sucks because when I'm not actively, like, proactively in front of my face working on my dreams, I feel like I'm being lazy because I want to be working on my dreams. Like, for example, like, right now this whole channel is just me venting in front of a camera, and I actually like it. It's very therapeutic, actually, and it makes me feel like better. It helps me feel better as a person, as a soul. My cat just like went under the sheets. Hi, come here. I'm sorry, I'm wearing a bra. That's why I was covering it. Hi, baby. Oh my god. Oh my god. I would spend so much time like just like playing with my cats. Totally just showed my bra, I'm sorry, but hopefully it's not that bad. No, I don't think it's that bad. But anyway, so and I would feel like shit because like because I'm working aside to fund everything like outside of my dreams. So being outside of my dreams is miserable in a way because I'm just like I'm always contemplating like what the fuck am I doing with my life. But as I'm contemplating, I'm actively working so I can fund it and to be alive. And like having cut my bangs and then feeling like hella weird in front of the camera for a while, like that fucked me up too. I was like, shit, I need to like be doing stuff that like that requires me like putting myself out there, and I just haven't for a while. You know, that fucked me up. But anyway, how does this tie back to God exists? Well, in the case that God is the creator of all anything and everything. In the case just just by definition, right? In the case that there is a ultimate creator that has created every freaking thing that exists. Scientifically, like non-God speak, everything technically exists, is created. You know? Or like say there like yeah, like say scientifically there's a big bang and then boom everything existed. Well, the big bang happened, right? We as a human species are like we obviously aren't fucking like obviously our intelligence isn't at the end of its evolution. Obviously, like obviously as a species we're like constantly making new discoveries. And what does that insinuate? That insinuates that we actually are adolescents. That's the other freaking thing. That was the other download. We're all adolescents. No matter what, who we are, how old we are, how much life experience, how much whatever. In the grand scheme of things, we're all adolescents. That's the download that I had, or like that's like another intuitive thing. You know, it's very fascinating because it's not like I actively think about these things consciously. It just is in the back of my subconscious or something, like just so far back in there that comes out sometimes. But it's aside from like my conscious brain when I'm like working, working, or like when I'm just like frolicking through life or something. So there's that. It's like basically it literally feels like a separate entity. I don't know if it's a separate entity, if it's a part of me. I suppose it's a part of me because I'm talking, but it's kind of like a separate entity of sorts. Not talking about spirit or anything like that, just like as a different, like it just operates at a different part of my brain. That's something I don't like use actively, I guess. Like another personality. Anyway, so we're all adolescents, which ties back to what I was saying earlier. Like, it insinuates that us as a human species don't know, for the sake of the PG-ness, I'm trying to cover myself. It insinuates that we don't know everything. So to assume that God doesn't exist is quite arrogant. To assume something doesn't exist just because we haven't seen it or you know, whatever, like that insinuates that we're arrogant as a species. To only, like, you know, like it should only really be held with some sort of skepticism as opposed to like, God does not exist. And it does not exist because it is not in the books. It is not in Pearson study textbooks. Like that is so dumb. Like I mean, sorry, I'm not sorry actually, because that's an actual honest thought. Like to assume something doesn't exist because it's not like written on a textbook by a medical doctor or a scientist is quite arrogant, considering that we are constantly figuring new shit out and through time. Considering that we have not fully evolved yet as a species. Considering that we might never stop evolving as a species. In terms of our intelligence, in terms of our understanding of this existence, like these things. So, you know. Anyway, there's that. Let me think. Let me let it be. Let me feel. Let me like tap into like the core of myself to see what's there. I suppose this is like a little vent. I guess as I speak, there might be other things. These are things I've thought about before. Other dimensions exist. I wonder what would happen if I just don't even try to explain these things and just let the future prove it. Or disprove it. Everything exists. I do have something to say. I feel like what can be possibly expressed or explained should not be off limits. Or, yeah. I feel like expressing the mere, like, just expression, any form of expression, really, should not be off limits or censored. Just because it's sensitive, whatever. I feel like as a creative, for me, I think about like crazy shit or what the average person might consider as crazy or way too abstract, controversial, like these things. I get these visions that like I want to create, and they're sensitive topics. They're about sensitive topics like depression, ideation, just these things. Even just in regards to showing like in detail a raw human experience. I think in essence, raw human experiences in the form of thoughts, in the form of everything in regards to human experience. I feel like none of it should be censored. I also feel like expressing oneself to another person even shouldn't necessarily be censored. I've come to the understanding that I'm pretty deep, naturally, as opposed to being shallow. And it's definitely a pro and a con. But I also feel like, how does humanity progress if we're all shallow? I'm only observing shallowness because I actually don't know what it's like to live firsthand shallowly, because it's not something that I feel comfort in being naturally. But yeah, like, how do we progress? I think about a lot of people that struggle. I feel like a lot of people are struggling. Even if they're rich, even if they have everything, they're still struggling internally. I notice that people struggle to express themselves and feel safe to do so. I notice that I'm a safe space for people to share like things they don't share to people. You know, and it's like very fascinating. And I'm sure it's because I'm a deep person. I'm sure that helps. I don't know. I've always like been pretty like, what's the word? Envious of people that like to live shallow and they're happy. I don't know of a single happy shallow person actually. Actually, yeah. I don't think it's part of my values, so I don't think it's part of me. I think there's just so much like good that comes out of naturally caring deeply about perhaps everything. I mean, it hurts and it sucks in this kind of like society that appraises or praises like superficial living and degenerative things. It does suck, but I do think sensitivity and depth help the overall collective. I think that vulnerability and embracing the rawness, being raw, helps people. Because I'm not the only, like, newsflash or a little fun fact, like, I struggle with depression a lot and sadness. I struggle a lot. I struggle with so many seasons of like self-doubt, all of these things, questioning my own life, questioning everything, like in terms of like my own existence, questioning like my purpose and like why I'm here and stuff like this. Like, I understand my purpose, and it's like, well, yeah, I do. Like, I do have like an ultimate mission. Like I like intuitively I understand what it is that I like really want to experience in this life, and I'm actively inching, building towards it. Like, I might take breaks, but I'll never give up. Although I do even though I do contemplate giving up in the entirety all the time. So yeah. Where was I getting with that? I forget. I don't know, but downloads for the collective. Let's see, or intuitive statements for the collective. Prioritize yourself. Honestly, I feel like these like sentences that I'm just onto this like camera. They're for me. As much as it's for me, it's also for whatever set of eyes it hits and lands. So, yeah. Prioritize yourself. Okay. Believe in your dreams. People who tell you what's better for you. How do I say this? I have something that's like that I thought about a while ago. I think the best way I can say it is by just explaining it and how it relates to me. I've experienced people telling me what they think I should do. Instead, for my life. I think it's arrogant to tell somebody what they should do with their life, what they should do with their life. To act as if they're the conductor of the fate of one person, of a singular person, of a person. Like, we all know it's out of care, but it's also just a projection. I believe that we all have our like unique paths to take. We all have this thing inside of us for a reason that communicates to us in its way what it wants for us to experience. And every unique person has that. Every person has that. For one person that has made choices, I'm gonna relate this to myself because it's honestly how I understand it. For a person that has made choices out of survival as opposed to like abundance mentality, out of a survival fear-based mentality as opposed to a mentality of abundance, in the most fairest of circumstances that would lead the person to do so, you know. For them to give advice to somebody in regards to, for example, for me to what to do with my life or whatever, like, that's arrogant. I feel could be seen as arrogant because I don't know how many people out there have like dreams that they that they put in the back burner because it's quote unquote safer, and it's fair. This is all fair. That it's safer because it's safer to like pursue something else that provides immediate like gratification in the form of like safety, stability. And it's like, the person themselves haven't had the experience to live to their full potential. So for them to tell somebody that is trying to accomplish, that is en route or trying to fulfill themselves and like experience their fullest potential, for them to offer something else to like advise against that, in the form of like giving advice that would like make the person steer away from that, um I think it's useless. I think it's anti-productive. I'm one to believe, I'm not saying anything is like better or worse, you know, like sure I might be insinuating. um it's understandable. I can completely understand why. It's like, you know, like I can see how people like give advice in accordance to their own experiences and like what they themselves want to experience and stuff. So, oh, oh baby, oh it's so cute. Anyway, so I get that. Um, I dedicate my life to this. I said I'm gonna do it, so I'll do it. I noticed that I used to take pride in meeting my word until I got humbled myself and realized my weakness is time. The time it would take for me to accomplish something. So if I say I will like do something, I will do it. But if I say I'll do something by a specific time, I realize I'm full of shit for that. And it sucks. Because I'm dealing with it. I'm like, shit. My ego was attached to like me like meeting my own like word. And having told the producer I was gonna fucking send him like the vocal recording. Man, was I wrong. By like the next day or the same day, man, was I fucking wrong. It was a lot harder than I thought. And I'm going and figuring out like the nuances to this shit is a lot harder than it seems. It seemed, you know, it takes a lot more skill and talent than I had originally thought. So, but I'll still do it. But even despite my doubts in myself and all these things, besides the point. I will either die having not achieved financial success and what I love to do in the which is creative, which is this shit. I will either die not having quote unquote failed by society standards, or I will win in accordance to society standards. I've committed my life to this shit. The ugly parts of it, the the insecure parts of it, and all, because I truly got nothing better to do. This is like the one thing that I give a shit about, amongst other things. But like this is like the purpose, like self-expression to its fullest capacity in every single form possible is my passion. It's what I love to do. This shit I love so much. I'm gonna try to, like, I will want to record covers and stuff, in which I'm building myself up to do. I did think about like changing from like diary stuff like this to covers, but I don't want to because this is actually very nice. This is actually pretty fucking nice. So I might do both. I might do one or the other. I don't know yet, so we'll see. Also, thank you to the people watching and the new people watching and commenting. Appreciate it so much. I really do. Feels nice to like feel seen. It does. You're not alone. It sounds so cliche when I heard that statement. Like, what the you're not alone. Like, what? Like, I'm definitely alone in this bed crying and thinking about, like, my life. What do you mean? Like, I have nobody else to talk to. What I realized, and that's like another statement, I guess, from the subconscious. What I realized from that is that, like, if you're thinking multidimensionally as opposed to scientifically, or, you know, or I don't know what new like technology or whatever exists right now, I'm just kind of operating off of like scientific discovery till 2020, let's just say that to be safe, where other dimensions don't exist or something. 2020, I don't know if 2020, but whatever year that is. Like, if we're talking about other dimensions, we're not alone. Like, there are organisms, living organisms amongst us. Like, if we're talking about scientifically, like, yeah, cells, active, like bacteria, like all these things, right? Animals, plants, you know. But if we're talking about multidimensionally, like in other dimensions, there are entities and spirits, either from our like loved ones or like other ones that are like that are on our side, that like experience us and can witness us and see us even though we can't see them. This shit, I'm not even actively thinking, I'm just speaking. I'm actually being a vessel right now. It's so cool. I'm just kind of like letting myself talk. Letting it talk. Letting the subconscious talk, I guess. Call it, label it what you want. It is what it is. Yeah. You're actually never alone. We're always cared for, observed, helped, guided in ways that we might not understand. But we don't have to understand. It's not necessary. I spent my whole... Oh, hi KB. I spent like younger years trying to find the truth. Trying to figure out the truth. I think like my whole life I was always wondering about the truth. Like, what the fuck is the truth? You know what baffles me? Is that like we live in a kind of world that like is used to lying to each other. Like, what baffles me about this existence is that lying is normal. Like, lying is just something that is done. That baffles me so much. Like, that's just normal in this culture, to lie to each other. Because it's fine and it's normal. Like, that mentality, like, is crazy. Like, what do you mean? Like, why is it that comedians are like one of the one of like the populations that are the more honest ones? Why? How is it like? How are there like comedians that are more honest than fucking like political figures? Or like anybody else in any other profession? Like that? Like, why is the concept of something being super fucking funny? Some things. Like I found like the most hilarious comedians being like also the most honest ones and the most like blunt ones. And I find that so fascinating how like how that's the case, how like how the truth is considered hilarious and also like an ideal in a regular like setting, and how lying is considered normal and like customary. Like what? Like I can't be the only, I literally cannot be the only one here that's like, what do you mean? Like type shit about this. Because that's fucking damaging. Like, what do you mean? That's just normal. It's just like I'm not surprised by the slightest given how the world's structured, but like come on guys. Like the fuck? So I think that's why I love like art so much and like just creating so much, because it requires me being like honest to myself, and it's like a constant like practice and discipline of like this shit that I think very real. Uh let's create it, figure out how to create it and put it out there. And it's like an honest expression of whatever I'm trying to express, which is typically how I feel. So there's that. And yeah, like I got this animal that's like on my body and sleeping. It's so adorable. Just cuddled up with me. It's so cute. Um Let me see what else. I'm getting more and more tired. Don't be scared. You're cared for. What you're doing. I guess I'm talking to myself. Whatever from whatever. What you're doing is fully supported by the universe, by things that you might not yet understand, but give it some time and you will. Trust in yourself. I think it's okay to share your thoughts. I've been doubting myself, you know, doubting my own abilities, my talents, doubting a lot. There are circumstances in life that, you know, actively have brought me down or bring me down. And making my best efforts to weather the storms, you know, despite how hard it tries to knock me. I can do this. I should take care of myself. And I'm feeling sleepy now. So I'm gonna go ahead and let myself sleep. To anybody watching this, let me share a piece of myself to you. I hope that you get to really experience what you truly know deep down inside that you're meant to experience. And I hope that, I know this is coming from a intrinsically flawed person with struggles. I hope that you feel, I hope that you know that you're worthy. And I hope that you do something that helps bring what you want to experience in your life to light. I believe in every single person's dream because I believe that they come from something that we might not have yet completely understood yet. Just because we don't understand it shouldn't mean we deny it. So I'll leave with that bar. Catch y'all later. Maybe in the form of singing a cover, a song, or another one of these.